At the end of the day, innovating the customer experience is about staying relevant. It doesn't matter if you're selling a low-end product or a high-end product. It has to stay relevant to the customer. And I'm using this great example of watches, Swatch on the one side and the Breguet on the other side. The Swatch costs about $90. This Breguet is somewhere in the $90,000. By the way, manufactured by the same company, the Swatch Group. But it doesn't matter if it's a $90 watch or if it's a $90,000 watch. If the hands will not keep on moving, if they will show me what the time was yesterday or even 5 minutes ago, they're not relevant to me. They're not helping me. If they'll show me the time that was of the past, if they will repeat showing me the past as opposed to moving with time, they will not be relevant. Remember, innovating the customer experience is about staying relevant, and it's an ongoing as opposed to a one-time. Many companies, by the way, have had once upon a time a great innovation, but they stopped. They stopped just like a watch and no longer became relevant, because if we don't move, it doesn't matter if it's a high-end or lower-end product or service, if we don't move, if we don't keep on changing, if we don't stay relevant to our customers, we ultimately become a commodity, and that's when the price game comes in. So in conclusion, innovating the customer experience is about creating a natural attraction for the customer to come to us. We need to expand our question in order to see it from the perspective of the customer and understand it as the customer defines it, not as we define it. Understanding the customer is not just a destination or an interaction, but rather as a journey. Understanding that the customer is looking for relevance and innovation is actually creating relevance at every given point. It's not just about best practices, it's really about the next practices. How are we going to delight them, not just catch up with the Joneses? How are we going to actually create a surprise for them that customers will say, wow, I didn't expect that one. This is really what the challenge is all about. And when you think about innovation, one of the stories that inspired me, you talk about transformation from commodity to innovation. Virgin Mobile is a cell phone provider that came to the US several years ago. The problem was they did not have a network here, and second, nobody knew Virgin Mobile. Virgin is a very famous group in the UK, but not really known here. In the meanwhile, we had Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile and Sprint and a whole host of other providers of cell phones. They were coming late to the game. So you don't have a network, you're not known as a brand, and you're coming late to the game. It's the ultimate commodity play. Instead, Virgin Mobile decided to play a different play. They went and observed customers and were looking for cues, for fringe behaviors that will actually be an opportunity for them to innovate. And here's what they noticed. When they look at a certain customer group, which are people at the age of 15 to 25 not married, they noticed that many of them were going on blind dates. Well, what's the problem with blind dates? Blind dates, you don't know what you get. And as a result of it, you don't want to get stuck with someone who might be a nutcase, or who knows what they will be. So they were arranging for a special treatment. They would usually schedule with their friend or family member to call them 10 minutes into the date. At that point, they got a full assessment of the person, determine if they want to be in this date or not, and when the phone call comes in, they pick up their phone and say, oh my gosh, my grandmother died, and they leave the room. Kind of an odd thing, but that's how people solve the problem. Well, that solution had several flaws. A, what if your friend forgets to call? What if your date is late? What if you just met somebody at the bar? Well, so the solution had some flaws, and Virgin came up with a great idea. They went back to the phone manufacturers and they said, we need a phone with a special button that will activate the ringtone. And the manufacturers did not understand, from a product standpoint, why would the user want to activate his own ringtone? Well, that's what the Virgin Mobile called the blind date button. And now when you have the Virgin Mobile phone with the blind date button, you can go and meet anyone you want at any given point. You don't like what you see, all you need to do is press one button on the phone, and of course the ringtone will come up. You'll talk to yourself, basically says, oops, my grandmother died, and you leave the room. And it sounds funny to you, but that was focusing on a certain customer emotion, customer problem. And as funny as it sounds to you, in a commodity market, they sold over 1 million phones in the first year and established themselves as a player. Later on, Virgin Mobile became a subsidiary of Sprint, and today they are part of that organization. But talking about entering a commodity market and going after customer emotions, understanding them, and designing a product from the outside in, this is the ultimate innovation. And the reward, 1 million subscribers in a mature, saturated market in less than 1 year. Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck with your innovation.